Coach and Nick from Echo Base Network. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight at Echo Base TV, where community happens. Echo Base Network. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight at Echo Base TV, where community happens.
Oh my gosh, the Raid movie. It looks like it's not going to happen. We're rebranding the channel. I can't deal with this kind of L. Hey, everybody. Great to see you. Let's go ahead and bring him in. Quite refreshing, son.
Is it quite refreshing on a Friday night? We're small but mighty crowd tonight, coach. Small but mighty.
Hey, we didn't get to do our Thursday night live stream, so here we are. Doing it now.
Gonna do it. We're gonna do it.
So thank you guys for being here with us as we go through the news of the day and whatever else you guys want to talk about. But I got to put him in the hot seat first. Risman, look hard.
What?
Risman,
I'm here.
look hard.
Oh! It's not obscured.
For the very first time
Love it.
ever, I am moving over to the right. There we go. For the first time ever,
Fancy.
I am not blurred in the background. I have removed the blur, and autofocus is wigging out.
Too many faces. Too many little faces.
Yeah, too many.
Which face do I go to?
Hey,
Go to the cheeks, autofocus. Go to the cheeks.
You think you're funny? You think you're funny? Hey, seriously, does this look okay?
It looks good.
Is it better? Is it better to go the other way? Like,
I love it.
think?
I mean, you know what my opinion was. I expressed.
But look,
myself.
seriously, everything in the background is like autofocusing on and off, going
Yeah, but
crazy.
I think if you don't call too much attention to it, you can still make it out more here now than you could before. Your face is
for
still
sure.
your face is still plenty clear, so it's not doing anything weird for your face. So as long as the camera doesn't give up, I think you're fine.
Oh, my camera can go all night.
Well, I've been using one of these little Insta360s on the gimbal now for a while, and I love this thing.
Yeah.
It's got a mind of its own with the AI. I've had to tinker with that a little bit,
Yeah.
but I recommend.
Awesome. Well, look, I'm happy with it. We'll see. We'll see how long it lasts. That really is Admiral Akbar, like right here. You could tell.
Yeah.
That's Admiral Akbar. I'm darker.
You are a little darker, but I think the color looks good. It looks natural.
Oh, well, great. All right, everybody. Thank you for being here. We got Debbie and Aurora Uplinks and Rev Kev's Geek Corner. What's going on? Joker Jack Fitak. Fenris Valhalla, what is going on? Midnight's Edge After Dark, what's going on, Tom? Good to see you. Matt Cave Gaming is here. Angelina Serini, the wonderful Angelina, good to see you. Everscale is here in the house. Marks 47. Can we just rewind it and leave it on that Kelly Preston shot? Yeah.
And listen, Hellbent Spartan already noticed that Wolverine mask, which I did as well when you were pointing at Admiral Akbar. See, it's even visible now.
Hey, people are seeing. Look, hey, you know what? Yeah, I've never done this. This is for you. Like I'm gonna go down. You're gonna get to see the top of my case. You ready?
Go for it.
On my right, that's wave 2 of my Star Wars figures, and this is wave 2 of my G.I. Joes. And it doesn't even go up that high.
Yeah, those cases are tall. I was wondering how.
They are tall.
I was wondering how you were going to do that.
They are definitely tall. So look, there we are. Awesome. So hope you guys enjoyed that sneak peek. Anyways, case video. We will definitely do it. But I have to go pick up a Transformer collection first.
Yes, you do.
About 4 states over.
Road trip. Wish I could do it.
Car video. Like, yeah, we are doing it. It's going to be an adventure. So, all right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get into what happened as the normal situation here. If you did not know, I am always in my world, and Nick is always who knows where. Like, you never know.
Stuck in traffic on a work call.
Stuck in traffic on a work call. My man. So I get a text this morning from this guy, which is not unusual.
It was
What
very
was
early.
unusual is
It
that
was
I
very
called
early.
you on the bus
Yeah. Well, it came in so late last night. I was like, he's going to be asleep. I don't want to wake the family. So I waited until I got up this morning, which I knew you would have already been way up by then. I was like, I'm going to text him now.
I was
you
up.
You were
Yeah,
literally
you could call
going
me
for the
anytime
bus.
that early. I'm up.
Yeah, you were literally going for the bus.
Yeah, I was walking around the bus yard on the phone, and people were like, "Who the hell are you talking to?" It's 6 o'clock.
Well, it was 7 o'clock here. So
Yeah, hilarious. So here it is, guys. Do you remember when was it? April of 2023.
I remember. I was there. I was there in person.
Well, the report came out that the movie was delayed, and that Stephen Knight, who came in after Damon Lindelof was shown the door, that he had turned in multiple scripts and not to Lucasfilm and the writing team's approval. It wasn't up to muster. So the word was that he was getting irritated, frustrated, and he was thinking about leaving because he's got other things to do.
He's putting his own studio together. He doesn't need this mess.
So, and we know that Lucasfilm has a long track record of fired people, people shown the door, people who left projects. So this hit today, and we covered the news then. Matt, it looks like it was legitimate.
And this is now a lot of people are like, well, I think he's been gone for a while and blah, blah. And I'm like, you think? Like you're saying, you think? It's been a minute.
I love how so many people are like, oh, this isn't news. They're being patient and they're just going to make the best movie. Dude.
Well, I mean, it's very interesting because yesterday, and I don't know when this was recorded, but Daisy was on the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast with Josh Horowitz. Yes. And we have that clip too you can play. And she had a very different perspective than what we're seeing here. Right. And so I'm so confused, right? Because this isn't even the evolving. She told Josh, hey, I've seen a script. It's coming. I'm like,
she said, imminent big news coming.
She said, we're moving on to the next stages or whatever. And then this Variety thing came out after that Happy, Sad, Confused, which maybe I'm like, are they going to Henry Cavill her?
I'm going to tell you, I listened to it on the way home. It's probably been 7 hours ago at this point. John Rocca. He did a show last night. Yeah. Last night.
He does with
this.
He does with the other guy that I like, the Roca cast or whatever, with Jeff Snyder. Jeff Snyder.
Now, this was his Star Wars stream. It was him and a girl. Mm-hmm. It's Roca, John Roca?
Yeah. John Roca, R-O-C-H-A.
Right. Yeah. So he did this live stream last night, and he just happened to bring up the whole Stephen Knight turned in multiple scripts. That's the word I got. It was very frustrating. Didn't say a word about what was about to go down, but it's almost like he knew. It's almost like he knew. And his companion, I was shocked, because they're insiders that they don't crap on Disney, and they defend a lot of this stuff. Mm-hmm. But his companion was like, I don't think this movie's going to happen. And this was last night. Mm-hmm. We've been saying this for a while. The movie keeps getting pushed back. Now, the third writer for the movie, right? The third.
And I think that's the second, because I think Lindelof and the other gal, I think they were together.
They were together, and Charmin Obaid-Chinoy also is receiving a writing credit.
Yeah, which is new.
Yeah. Now, Matt, what are the odds in the next month or two the news breaks that Charmin Obaid-Chinoy has exited the program and Sean Watts or whoever comes in, Tony Gilroy?
I think if Obaid-Chinoy exits, I think this movie is done, and I think Sean Levy's movie comes. I don't think Sean Levy is. There was some speculation that maybe they're pushing Obaid-Chinoy aside, and then Sean Levy is going to take over
Because he's a safer.
and because there's been a rumor that he's been working on a Star Wars movie, which I don't think has ever had anything to do with Rey. Right. And then there's other news that says Mangold's movie is going forward. We've heard this for a while.
Yeah.
He said it again. So I've said for a while, my opinion is Mangold's movie has a much better chance of coming next than this Rey movie ever does. I'm of the opinion it never happens, or they delay it until KK is gone, and then it never happens.
That's an interesting thought. Maybe people above KK are like, nah, let's push it back, push it way back. Get rid of KK. Look, here's something nobody's talking about. We could literally be days away from an announcement Kathleen Kennedy is leaving. We could be days away from that. And nobody's talking about that right now. And I know why nobody's talking about it, because we've said it so dang much over the past several years. But here we are at the end of the line. She's either going to be renewed or they're going to announce the plan to replace her. And
I think if she's renewed, it just happens quietly. Obviously, if she's not renewed, they have to say something. And just to give opinion, I see in the chat has been mentioning, there was also a quiet article which indicated that Daisy Ridley has the Graves' disease.
Yes, thank you, Pinion, for posting that. Yep.
Yes, she recently came out on Graves' disease. I think she'll be well enough to star in this movie, should the movie ever come to pass. She's been in other movies successfully with this disease, and I hope that can continue.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I'm not going to speak for you, but I can say this for myself and for Nick, for sure. We've been very critical of what Disney Star Wars has given us. Not saying that it's been all terrible, but man, we're at the point now where it's like 80% all terrible, and everything that they've done the last few years has been terrible. So, all that being said, we don't wish any ill towards Daisy Ridley. This isn't personal against her. I like Daisy Ridley. I have no problem with Daisy Ridley. I don't like Rey.
Correct.
I don't like Rey. I don't want anything that makes me think of those terrible sequels. Why would you? Doesn't it totally make logical sense that this movie is not going to happen?
So I personally think they've got to put Mando and Grogu out in the theater first, and they need to see how it performs before it's kind of even my opinion, before they put another movie into production. That sort of needs to happen. Right. And if other reports are to be believed, it has finished filming now. I know originally it was supposed to come out in 2026.
Yeah.
But if they hurry up, if it really has finished filming, and Favreau and Filoni know how to finish a Mando project, they've proved that.
Yeah.
If they get that thing through post, there isn't any reason why they couldn't release that movie next year, surprisingly. But I really feel like before they invest more money in any Star Wars movie, they need a performance. They need to see what the performance is going to be. And I don't think they want the next thing they do to be anything to do with Rey. I really don't.
I agree. I totally agree. And D-Spirit, you're not wrong. I do remember during the sequel trilogy, Daisy Ridley, who is a very casual cursor, by the way. Mm-hmm. She has a big potty mouth.
Yeah, she's a Brit. She
went off about the fandom, but my recollection, she only did it once, and it was a good one. We made a video about it a long time ago.
Yes.
I remember covering that, and I was not very pleased with her comments and the things that she said. But since then, she's certainly, and I'm not saying she's perfect. I'm not saying she's great. I'm just saying it's not personal against her. Whatever. For me. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. Forgive, but don't forget. I definitely don't want to see her in any more Star Wars projects. So,
a lot of people, I wouldn't say it's ubiquitously true, right? It's definitely true for us on this channel. We're not clamoring for more sequels, characters in more content. There is some part of the fandom, right, which that still does appeal to, but I think it's been so long now since it's been since 2019, right? When we had Rise of Palpatine. That's the last sequel's content. And if you think about it, it's almost the Mandalorian phenomenon again, right? If this movie comes out in 2027, it's 8 years since there's been any sequel era's content out there. People are forgetting. Kids are not being raised on sequel. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Kids are not being raised on sequels era stuff.
No, they don't know a thing about it.
So the longer you wait, the less likely it is to me that you reintroduce a character like Rey to profit. I don't get it.
Well, we're getting to the point where you've already said this. What kind of impact is Grogu going to have on a fandom at this point?
They're hoping for they're hoping for some nostalgia, I think, for those people that were of the appropriate age, and even some of us, right, who found it to be cute, back when it came out originally.
You thought it was cute? I didn't think it was cute.
I was interesting.
I was irritated with Grogu from the second episode of him.
By the time they put him in that mech suit, forget about it, right? But on your point, those kids, the kids that were of that age, by the time that comes out in 2025 or 2026, right, they've aged another 6 years? I think that's the way it works, right? So even they're not of the right age anymore. And so if the desire is to try and to appeal to kids of a new age, then they're relying on us as parents, right? Or our kids as, you know what I mean? Kids as parents who are invested in the franchise now bringing their children, right, to experience this for the first time on the big screen. The longer they wait, the more of a gamble it is.
Well, it is interesting that just a couple days ago, Daisy Ridley was saying, we have a really big announcement coming very soon. And I'm going to be honest, the more I listen to Daisy Ridley talk about this movie, it almost, I don't know, but it almost seems like she either knows nothing or she's not telling the truth. Like, it's just not believable at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no script. The screenwriter is gone. I saw people saying comments like, oh, he finished the writing and now he's leaving the project to go work on something else. They're giving it to another writing team. They're going to put a little tweak here and there, and they're ready to go. I highly doubt that.
I think the only way that's true is if after the fourth iteration and the notes that he got back, if he just said, you know what, the script is yours, that's what we agreed to, the notes are yours, do with it what you please. And then on this point, if they just bring in a small writer's room to try and incorporate those notes into the script, then it's completely possible. It's completely possible that Daisy Ridley has seen some version of at least one of these scripts. Right. But does she know that Stephen Knight just stepped away? Was she on that podcast while Variety was reporting it and she had no idea? It's completely possible.
Yeah, absolutely. So now this is Kathy speak. Did you watch the video today?
I did.
Okay. So we hit this. This is a Kathleen Kennedy quote, which means nothing, by the way. This is over a year and a half old.
Yep.
Listen to her words. We've been working on the Rey film for a few years, and all of it feeds into our overall storytelling. So we've just got to a point now where we've got a wonderful writer in Stephen Knight who's come on board, and we're going to see a script probably in the next 4 to 6 weeks. So we're getting close. That was a year and a half ago.
I think, and someone just in the chat said the same thing. I think he delivered a script. They didn't like it. I think he delivered another script. They still didn't like it. I think he said, I'm going to deliver another script. And instead of saying 3 strikes and you're out, he was probably like, listen, I'm a professional. We're going to go at this one more time. I believe, as John Roca indicated, he gave him a 4th version. They didn't like it. And he said, you know what? Peace out.
Yeah.
I don't need this anymore.
So what do you make of this? And this is a point that I tried to make in the video today. I think I kind of failed.
Yep.
And hey, Junkman, what's going on, brother? Junkman, I got the Transformers collection, Junkman. Just got to go get it. So, by the way, I want to tell you the finer details about it when we're done with the stream tonight, Risman.
Yes, sir.
But I mentioned this in the video. This from Best Spin Bulletin almost a year ago. Okay, this is when it broke out almost a year ago, over 10 months, where Daisy Ridley's untitled Ray movie is delayed, and Stephen Knight possibly is exiting because he is frustrated about having to keep revising his script. They keep rejecting it. So everybody was talking about it. And later that very same day, the shills jumped in immediately. Jermaine Lucier over at Gizmodo writes this article, no, Ray Star Wars movie hasn't been delayed. And then he scathing article calling out the bigots and our side of it, not saying that we're bigots. I'm just saying that's what they call us. The haters of Disney Star Wars, these terrible old school fans who love what real Star Wars is. Whatever. I mean, we can get into all that stuff. He comes out with this and tries to debunk it. Didn't work. Nobody believed it, but all the shills jumped on board immediately. See, they're just making stuff up. All those grifters. Well, today, this hit, and the very same dude, Jermaine Lucier, this time, Star Wars episode rip. Risman, he didn't say Stephen Knight rip. He didn't say, uh-oh, looks like it happened. This is literally all the man said. Is he saying the movie is done? What are the odds this movie is done?
Well, so it's completely possible. I've thought it's been done for a while. And of course, what Junkman was saying is also completely possible, right? Daisy knew this was happening, right? That the writer was being replaced, yada, yada, yada. And she said, an update is coming. When she talked to Josh Horowitz, and she said, I've seen some things. We're ready to move on to the next stages. For all we know, that means they got another writer or they're using a version of, you know what I mean? It could mean so many things. It could also just mean she's out of the loop, right? And she's been off telling what she thinks is true while all this other stuff has been happening. And again, it could be that we're going to a place where it's either indefinitely delayed or they'll just quietly tell her it's not happening, right? If they just keep delaying it, she's fine. She doesn't have to hold any time on her schedule. It's no skin off her nose. They've already paid her something for coming out in celebration, right? So other than seeming a little silly for what she's been saying, it's really not any kind of a black mark on her career. It's
not her failure at all.
No, it's just either these things are really connected and we're going to get the next bit of news at a future time, or it's completely disconnected. And she's furious for the fact that she's just been out there saying how excited she is. And now the scriptwriter is gone.
Yeah, he's gone. The man that they were so braggadocious to bring on board. I mean, they put all their eggs in this guy's basket. He was the crowned jewel. He was the, hey, we got Stephen Knight. This movie's going to be great, fans. Nope. Nope. All that just went to nothing.
Yeah.
You know what it did, Risman? You know, it evolved.
Sure did.
It went from something to nothing.
It was an evolving situation. That's why I say if you take the word she used at face value, then it has transpired in an appropriate way. You know, the interesting thing about the conversation she had with Josh Horowitz is after she basically said, it's imminent, we're moving to the next stages, maybe I've seen some things or whatever, he said something like, gosh, it's got to be so nerve-wracking for you to say anything at all. He said, sometimes I say little things about Star Wars and it gets twisted and blown out of proportion. And she said, yeah, I have to be so careful. She said, I feel like I say the most innocent things and then the internet just takes them and it becomes something else. Right. So what this tells me is she probably knows very little. She's trying to say something that she feels like is innocuous, and we're taking it as we might, you know, trying to find the meaning in it, do whatever. I just don't think she knows.
I don't think she knows. I think that, you know, there's a possibility that she's crushed. She was excited to be getting a major payday again.
Yeah.
You know, she's been very positive about the direction of the story, making comments like, I would not have come back if I didn't believe in the story we're going to tell.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that sounds just like Kathleen Kennedy. They might as well be Kamala Harris reading off a index card. You know, you can't.
Well, and in all deference to Daisy Ridley and her acting, she really hasn't been in any other what I would consider to be major roles, right? Or even breakout roles. So to return to a franchise, to return to a franchise at a later time.
Hello to Coach Nick and the Flaming Wristman of Fabulous.
I thought you were referring to Phil McCracken. The Phil McCracken comment is a good one too.
Wristman keeps shining and it. Coach is getting darker and darker. Wristman, give Coach some shine. You are shining and I am dark, man. Like I got a bright look. My lights are on and everything. It's the new lens. It's just not as powerful.
And so I see Star Wars Santa here. Great to see.
My good friend.
And he has said that for him it's a when. For me it's an if. The movie happens, he's going to come down to Jacksonville and we're going to do an out of the theater reaction together after having watched the movie.
That would be awesome. I hope y'all get to do that. So here's the thing, and a lot of people that are here right now won't get this. And I understand. I understand how crazy what I'm about to say is going to sound. But I have to assume, I know Santa was live earlier today. I didn't get to watch. I was working. But I did see his live stream pop up. I have to assume that he was disheartened by today's news.
I was very happy. He was the second person I contacted this morning.
You hit him with that early in the morning?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Chrisman, why would you tell Santa that early in the morning? Because unlike him, because I'm like this, yes, it's a win. It's a touchdown. Mm-hmm. You know, it's a Hail Mary. We won. You know, we're running off the field. It has to hurt Santa because Santa really appreciated the Rey character.
And the funniest thing about it is he had already spotted Bespin Bulletin's article before he saw my DM. And he said his first reaction when he saw Bespin Bulletin's article was, Wristman.
Bless him. Bless him. Well, you know, Santa and myself seem to be on different ends of the opinion aisle when it comes to Star Wars right now, but he is my friend nonetheless, and I appreciate that. So, and I hope everybody should have at least one friend who has a difference of opinion with you when it comes to Star Wars.
We've always said this, right? How boring is it if everyone thinks the same way we do? That's just boring.
Golly. That's probably why my wife married me, because I'm wrong all the time.
Well,
So,
and because you admit it.
yeah, I do. Yes, sir, I do. I get peace when I do that. So it's just, I don't know, man. What do you guys think? Do you think the Rey movie happens? Is it in serious trouble? How crazy is it that on the day of April 10th, you were there, 2023,
I was.
they announced 3 movie projects.
Mm-hmm.
None of those 3 are coming out first. The little movie they announced on a blog on StarWars.com is coming first, and they've already wrapped filming.
And I have to tell you honestly,
And that came out of nowhere, by the way.
well, and I'm not convinced that if we hadn't had the pandemic, that movie that's now the first one coming out would have ever happened at all. Right? I just think there was a sequence of events there that took us to where we're at. I think they were going to do Mando season 4. I think they were going to do a lot of things before Disney Plus tanked, before that bubble burst, and you know what I mean? And so we end up in this weird place. But yeah, none of the movies they announced are happening first. A repurposed 4th season, call it what you want, is happening first, and then I believe of any of the rest of the movies, it would be mangled because they're not going to be ready for the Filoni movie until they put Ahsoka 2 out.
All right. Question. And this is a question not just for Rissman, this is all you guys too. What kind of impact, if any, do you think the Acolyte had on what's happening right now?
Well, and I'll also say, think about Joker 2. Think about some of these other movies that were subvertive, right? That were supposed to be big box off, and they've just tanked big time, right? I think we're at the point with what you're saying now on the Acolyte and the rest of it. They're like, we're not going to take a flyer on a Rey movie after where we put all our eggs in this Acolyte thing and they all cracked, right? And not in a good way. It's really that's why I say I think this movie never happens. I really do. Is no reflection on Daisy Ridley. I just don't think they're going to go there. Plus, they're on a high, right? They had one of those Pixar movies did real well. They had Deadpool and Wolverine did real well. I mean, Disney's box office recently has been very, very good, right? I don't think they want to throw a Rey movie in the mix.
I mean, look, they have had a couple little moments of life, like on the EKG, little spike temporarily in some animated features and things like that. But when's the last time Star Wars has provided one of those for them? The last thing that had like a stable reception, and I use the word stable very loosely, was Ahsoka. And it was very mid for most fans.
And by the end, it had literally gone off a cliff, pun intended. Right. And I'm going to gush on it because they have to. Not only did Andor increase viewership through its life cycle, but if you look at what's happened with Andor after it's been off, if you look at how many people have looked at it since then, its physical release sales and all that, Andor has trended up, and up, right, in regards to viewership. But Ahsoka had an awful decline. Nobody watched that finale.
Yes.
Right, those
Speaking
last
of awful decline, the Acolyte, I mean, it went from they were like, oh, look at the first day of release. Oh my gosh. da 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 da. Look at these, and they always twist and manipulate their logistics any way that they can, their numbers any way they can. They always see the positive, no matter what. They find the positive, no matter where it is. But by the end of it, they couldn't. There was no positive. It was, oh, this is the greatest Sith we've ever had on screen.
He was never even really confirmed to have been a Sith, not in the show, by the way. The only time he was ever concerned to be a Sith was in every interview Leslie had to do after the damn show because nobody understood a thing that was going on because the script sucked.
Yeah.
I don't get me started on the
Andor season 2 will be fun. It will be good. It's going to be solid. There's no doubt about it. It'll be the best thing that we've gotten since Andor season 1.
So I think Andor season 2 will be...
But it's over, and you know how the story ends.
Will be the superior product. But
I do too.
Don't forget, we have one more thing coming out in what? Almost just a month's time. There is a Star Wars series coming out this year.
Time Bandits in Space?
Yes. I don't know if you had a chance to look at any of that Empire article that
I did not. I did not.
So that Empire article is full of all of the directors talking about their love of Star Wars and how they grew up with it and how excited they were to bring back some of the concepts and some of their favorite parts of the original trilogy and the Star Wars they all loved. So it's full of this is what Star Wars means to me. This is what we tried to do in the series. This is why we love it so much. This is why we had such a great time making it. With Bryce Dallas Howard and all of what I consider to be these adults, literally, who were involved with the series. Now, the story could still suck, right? Yeah. But the way they're approaching it is like it's a love letter to fans of our generation. So we'll see.
So I'm not trying to move away from our conversation, but this is a comment that I think really explains well where a lot of fans are. I have found myself here a lot, and it is right here from Sticky Syrup Everywhere, who says the damage of The Last Jedi is incalculable, into trillions over time. Yes, I was a kid in 77 and watched everything in theater at release. Shut up. The point is, yeah, I said theater correctly. I didn't say theater.
That's why I was smiling.
I sped it up a little bit. I changed the southern rhythm. I didn't say theater. Anyways, the point is, I'm pretty sure I can't care about Star Wars again. I have felt that multiple times where I'm like, I don't care anymore. We're rebranding the channel. How many times have we done that? We're changing it all. Intro, whatever. We're not a Star Wars channel. Like we've said, we've done all this stuff.
And I just sit back and I say, mm-hmm.
So here's what I've come to realize. And I think everybody, a lot of us are in this same boat. I was a kid in 77 and watched everything and loved it. But it's so bad now. The point is, I'm pretty sure I can't care about Star Wars again. That's how I felt. Mm. And then a couple weeks ago, I went to a Star Wars convention. And I was surrounded by people my age who grew up with it just like Sticky Syrup Everywhere. And I had so much fun for 3 days doing nothing but Star Wars. And you know what happened? It made me feel a love of Star Wars again. Not the new stuff that's coming out, but I came home and I looked in my case back here. I looked at my 1977 and 1985 Kenner run, and there was a little sparkle in my eye again. I had the direct connection. A lot of us say, well, I'd never lose that. I'm always going to have that. Do we? I think sometimes for me personally, I get so buried deep in the negativity of the current and what's happening now I get further and further away from what I love. You know what I mean?
I do.
So it's important that we keep that in a cycle. We want to, and so that's something that we want to do too. It's exactly what Harmonic Shredder just said. We want to remember, we want to report on things that are happening. We want to give our opinions about the current state of the franchise. And if it's all terrible, it's all terrible. And if they do something good, we're going to say it's good. You know, we're going to say what we think it is. But it's also important to do what we've done since we started the channel, is to remember why we loved it to begin with.
And also, I think for me anyway, it's important not to let anything in the current canon, right? Anything in what Disney has done to diminish the love that we have for the foundation of this franchise and for the things that have meant something to us for so long. So while I get that some of the recent stuff has definitely not been the highest quality, I mean, it's still never going to ruin for me why I love this franchise and how much I've enjoyed the fellowship and just being with people, whether it's here online or in person, or I was just back at Disney. And I have to tell you honestly, walking around, the franchise still very much alive.
Yes.
Right? There was lots of people to converse with of all ages.
We still love it.
Yeah.
But you know what? Our numbers are not growing.
Correct.
And Star Wars was so great, and it was so impactful for our generation. I would like to see it continue. You know? So I want to give a special shout out to my brother, Matt Cave
He
Gaming.
did do some gifting, yes.
Gifted 5 Echo Base Network memberships. Thank you so much, brother. If you love retro gaming, see, Matt Cave has a channel dedicated to the games that he loved back then. He'll never forget those. He still spends time with them now. It's great. And I'm so glad.
There it is. Subscribe. Subscribe. I thought I had it loaded.
Throw it out there. And Matt Cave, thank you very much for that offer. I will be honest with you, my brother. I will download the movie. I will also go buy it on 4K. I will own a copy of it myself. No need for the digital copy for me. Give that to somebody on your channel. But thank you so much for that very kind offer, my brother. I appreciate it. That's definitely a movie. Look, Transformers 1, they did it right.
I had to twist your arm though, and that's such a shame. I had a needle. I said, "Go see the movie. Go see the movie. Go see the movie."
You didn't have what? I was going.
I know, but you weren't super excited about it.
I was not.
It was deprioritized because of the poor marketing.
Marketing, i.e., the trailer was so bad.
Yes.
I had zero interest.
That's what I mean.
Knew, just like I knew X-Men 97 was going to be a bucket of crap. Yeah. And guess what? I was more wrong about Transformers 1 than I was X-Men 97. And by the way, I love X-Men. But I love Transformers way more.
That I know.
I mean, Transformers is my cartoon version of Star Wars.
Yeah, and I will say, and I've seen some of this feedback in the chat, my only remaining complaint with Transformers 1 is, and I get the whole, well, they were younger here, blah, blah, etc. It would have been nice if they used Peter and Frank as the voices for at least a little something, whether it was when they became Optimus and Megatron, or you know what I mean? If they had a chance to come in and do their thing, since they're both still with us, I still feel like that was the biggest downer of that movie for me was they're with us. They should have, right? They should have had a part.
So it would have been really great to have Peter Cullen voice Optimus at the end of the movie when he became a Prime.
And when the other guy became Megatron, I would have said the same thing for Frank Welker, right? It would have just been minutes.
I would rather see Cullen as Optimus because he still does a spot on Optimus.
True.
I love Frank Welker, but he can't do Megatron anymore.
I saw him in person, and this is true. His voice is very grovelly now.
It's nothing. It's almost like he forgot what Megatron sounds like.
Mhm.
He sounds nothing like Megatron, but I love Frank Welker. Give him a part in the movie. That should have happened. And Frank Welker doesn't get enough appreciation from Transformers, from Hasbro.
Agreed.
Cullen gets all the attention and praise. Frank Welker's just as big. So, but sorry I didn't articulate this well. I knew in my mind that X-Men 97 was going to be a train wreck. And then I watched the first episode and realized how wrong I was. And I waited. In episode 2 and 3 and 4, and the show got better as it went, and I loved it. It was better than I ever could have hoped for. I had no idea. I mean, I'll say it. I will say it. If you remove the nostalgia factor of 1986's Transformers the movie, then Transformers 1 and Transformers the movie 1986 are on equal footing. If you remove the nostalgia.
Sure.
It's that good of a movie. They're totally different movies, by the way. Like Transformers the movie 86, you're thrown into the middle of the fight.
Yep.
This one is an origin story, but it's done so well. And I look, I agree with some of y'all. Lucas was talking about the voice actor for Megatron. I agree. There were some parts that it didn't work. But I got okay. I guess my ears adjusted to it, as we went on.
Well, I got invested. Shocker, right? I got invested in Megatron's story, right? I got invested in the story they were telling about what happened to make him Megatron, how the Decepticons got together. I thought Steve Buscemi did a great job as Starscream, by the way, but didn't have that one on my bingo card. So I mean, again, so much of it was a pleasant surprise, and again, to me, the story was a good one. I really, really, really hate that the marketing did what it did to that movie, because even word of mouth really couldn't help it.
So I appreciate Distant Land Raider, the Bandit Invader, for posting this. This is neat. The voice of Starscream, Chris Latta, rest in peace. He's been dead a long time. Was an alcoholic.
Yep.
And he says G.I. Joe had to get him out of jail after a DUI to record Cobra Commander lines.
Yep.
So that sounds like something that we could do an episode of retrospectives on that. We need to look into that. That would be a good one.
Yeah.
What an incredible talent, the guy that did Cobra Commander, Starscream, and many others.
Yes.
Really, really good.
That's what we always say about these voice actors, because they're voice actors. They lend their voices to so many different characters across so many different franchises. You never realize it's the same person. And if you ever encounter any of them in person, you wouldn't even know it was them.
Yeah.
It's just the nature of the beast, to be sure. But yeah, just absolutely amazing. And such hard working, right? When we saw Mark Thompson speaking at Icon, right? Just to hear him and his journey as a voice actor and everything that he did. And then, of course, doing the audiobooks and all the rest of it. To me, it's just fascinating. Just absolutely fascinating.
Yeah. And yes, if you have not seen Transformers 1 and you are look, I am the target audience that said, this movie's going to suck. It's not for me.
And I said I didn't want it to be good. Remember, I said I don't. Oh, see, there it goes. I don't want this to be good.
I'm a G1 fan, and that's it. But I'm G1 to the core. Look, I even like season 3 of Transformers G1. but I have a very love-hate relationship with it. It's almost like the prequel trilogy. I have a very love-hate relationship. You killed all the original season 1 Autobots almost, except for Optimus, because he came back, Jazz, and Bumblebee, which don't even look like Bumblebee now. Now he's Goldbug. And I can't think of any others that lived. Many of my favorites I watched die horrible deaths on screen. Ironhide.
Which is
Brawn,
unheard of now, by
of
the
my
way,
favorites.
right? I mean, they don't do that. They don't do things.
No.
Well, they don't. Well, it wasn't how popular back then either, by the
Look,
way. But they certainly don't do it now.
On our last live stream, Nick said out of the blue, he said, top 3 bad guys, bad leaders, anything, from anything, go. And I thought, somebody said Cobra Commander, and I go, no.
Don't you dare say it.
No, I'm not going Cobra. I love Cobra Commander, but he wasn't a threat. That's all he did was retreat and lose. But Megatron, the movie changed everything.
Yeah,
because he's blowing their pieces off.
yeah.
Like, ooh. So yeah, I don't know, guys. I don't even know where we were going with that, but
yeah, and I saw even Debbie mention it in regards to Transformers 1. If you still think you want to see it in the theater, better hurry, because it's not staying there much longer.
Yeah.
And I think it may even already be available for streaming. I may have already made its digital debut. I'm not sure, but it isn't in the theater for much longer at all.
That's a good one. So I'll tell you what, that should be the movie where we go to Discord after a live stream and have a watch party.
Sure.
For the channel. We will watch Transformers 1 together.
Yeah.
Many people will be able to watch it for the very first time. And we'll do that, as a member family here on the channel. That'll be a good one. To what some of you guys were saying, look at what's happened to the entertainment that we grew up with and we loved. Look at what has happened to Star Wars. Somebody just said it a second ago. Look at what has happened. Who said it? To Star Trek. Let's see.
By the way, just to highlight this one, Coach, Marino's goat, don't feel bad. I don't know. This is what I mean about voice. This is what I mean about voice actors, right? It's not the same voice. There's no reason, really no reason why you wouldn't know.
They're exactly the same voice.
Well, that's true, I guess.
They're exactly the same voice. But you know what that means to me, Marinos? It doesn't mean that you're dumb, brother. It means that you were what do you call it? Jettisoned into another world.
Well, and this is what I was gonna use the word compartmentalizing, but it's like when I see someone from work not at work, and for a moment you're like, wait a minute, I know them, but they're not in the right place. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
the voice to me, Cobra Commander and Starscream, I compartmentalize them as two different voices because they're, you know what I mean? Because they're not together.
So I'll tell you, you're right. And sometimes those you can miss those.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you one that cannot be missed. If you grew up watching Thundercats and you watched any episode of Silverhawks,
I didn't watch.
it's the same voice actor. I mean, the whole team. It's the same animators in Japan. It's all the same. They went from lions to hawks. That's it. By the way, I got my Silverhawks down there.
Okay, it's on your mind. It's on your mind.
Did I ever show y'all my Silverhawks?
I don't even think I know what Silverhawks is. It's not registering with me.
Hang on a second.
He's going to get it. He's going to get it. You didn't want us to see Coach's legs. We didn't want to see any Coach's legs. Well, he's going to do that. Let me do some of this, right? Aurora Uplinks was here, hopefully still here. Member for 17 months. Star Wars idea. Luke takes young Ben Solo to an ancient Sith world to study history and train new Force powers. They are not alone there, however.
So
I was just doing some of this while you were off. I was thought, well, let me do at least one chat. So Aurora,
here's the problem. Here's the problem that we have. We no longer get entertainment where when I watch something and my immediate reaction is, one, I'm watching that again. Two, where are the toys or the media, or because I'm buying that. That's worth purchasing. This is Quicksilver. That is a Silverhawk. He's the leader. This was my favorite figure from childhood. This is Copper Kid. He had like this robot synthesizer voice. This is one of the more rare pieces. This is Steelheart. She's worth about $200. And this is her twin brother, Steel Wheel. And that was a fantastic show. And the action figures are great. And
the figures are beautiful.
I actually traded my Mongor from Thundercats in the package for these two figures. This is about $380 right here.
Wow.
So I got them. I'm not getting rid of them. I will have to leave my wife instructions on how to sell them when I'm gone, because they are staying.
Well, hopefully they'll be with us for a little while longer, and by that time they'll be worth even more.
Oh yeah, let's go. No, we'll be so old nobody will even want.
Oh, I was like, people will be blowing the dust off, and I was like, what in the hell?
So like when we were growing up, the toys from like the 50s and 60s were like expensive, and people were. And then one day the 80s toys got hot, like smoking hot. They're starting to cool off a little bit. I am driving 5 states over to go pick up a Transformers collection, ladies and gentlemen.
One of the things you need to then hope for, Coach, is that no one decides to reinvent the Silverhawks series for a modern audience and makes all those figures worthless as a result of a new bomb.
Oh.
Because they're going through them, right? Voltron, they're coming. They're coming,
dude.
For you.
So that makes me nervous. Like, so that's actually part of the, what we're talking about. Like, sometimes I wish they would just quit dusting off the things from our childhood and leave it alone. Now, but at other times, I mean, like, look, I haven't been very happy with Transformers. I'm not a fan of any of the Michael Bay movies. I'm not. The first one was decent. Some
of the cartoon series I watched on Netflix or someplace, not the real kiddie ones. They were okay. They were okay.
War for Cybertron, Transformers, Siege.
Yeah.
Some of that's really good, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the time, it's not. Something's off. It's not good. It's not right. Doesn't feel the same. They got Transformers 1 right. They got X-Men 97 right. They got Dune right.
Mm-hmm.
Denis Villeneuve's Dune movies are so superior to the film, the David Lynch film from '84. They're not even in the same solar system.
And by the way, I caught a note somewhere that the Dune 2 4K, maybe it's a steelbook, maybe it's not, but it's on sale somewhere for $21. It's on sale for a good price. So if anyone's in the market for Dune 2 4K, maybe it's a steelbook, Google it somewhere. Maybe it was Amazon. Someone put it someplace that caught my eye. I just read it and kept going, but $21 on sale. So
yep, like Greg C here. I loved Lost in Space as a kid. Hated the remake. I couldn't even watch the remake. I tried.
So for me, I was a huge Lost in Space fan as well, the original. And to me, the problem with the remake, well, there was more than one problem, but the primary problem with the remake was Dr. Smith. And it really didn't have to do with the fact that they gender swapped him. It just wasn't the right Dr. Smith. Right. So I watched the remake at a protest, but it didn't have the right vibe as a result of that for me. So I totally get it.
Yeah. And look, everybody doesn't agree with me. I respect that.
David
If
Lynch
you-
is Dune, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not saying I don't like it. I like the movie. And I watch it, I don't know, once every 2 or 3 years.
Sure.
It's fun to go back and watch. But man, Denis Villeneuve's Dune,
It's another level though, right? And
it's like top 10 of all time for me.
and have you seen the most recent trailer for the Prophecy series coming on HBO? It looked much more violent than I was expecting, and the way it was portrayed, I was like, "Whoa, wait a minute! I was not expecting that.
Right.
Not expecting that at all." So hopefully they knock that one out of the park, just like they've been doing with the Penguin, which shows to me again that HBO can still be, between them and Apple TV Plus, can still be the preeminent people that know how to do premium television. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, they invented the thing.
Yeah, I agree with you. I do. Let's see, what else do we got here? Dan Crane has rejoined the member family, member for 32 months. We appreciate that,
We don't
brother.
need to give him any more screen time. He's already needled me enough this screen.
Get him, Dan.
Needled me enough
Get
this
him.
screen.
Lucas Garrett has rejoined the member family. Thank you, Lucas. We appreciate that. He's a Jedi Knight. Always like having Lucas here. And parody account Acolyte will return. They can put that money into an Acolyte movie now. The Rey movie that may or may not be happening, ladies and gentlemen.
I had a passing thought, and this was just a passing thought. I was like, well, shit. What if they get Leslie Headland to write the Rey movie now that Stephen Knight is gone? What if it's Leslie Headland? And then I was like, no, there's no way they would do that.
I mean, I can't imagine them letting her ever touch Star Wars again.
I wouldn't think so.
But you know what? As they continue to make these things, who are they going to get to do Star Wars? People are not going to want to do it. You get associated with so much negativity. And, look, the director of the next new Star Wars show that they've not announced yet, they're going to be sitting in the same audience with Leslie Headland. A show that never should have happened. I mean, it's just terrible idea after terrible idea. Just over and over again with Star Wars.
I think once we get, like we've talked about before, I'll be very curious to see what is the next Star Wars television, Disney Plus content that they do after Ahsoka Season 2. There's got to be something, right? But what it is and when they announce it and who will be attached to it, on your point, will be very interesting to me. Because it wouldn't surprise me if Stephen Knight watched The Acolyte and said, oh no, I do not want to go down with this ship, right?
Exactly.
And decided to walk as a result of where the franchise is, right? These people who did Skeleton Crew, they're in it regardless, right? And I think the quality in Skeleton Crew will greatly surpass The Acolyte, which isn't really high praise, I suppose. But it's been done so long ago. Skeleton Crew has been done since the same time as Mando Season 3. This thing has been sitting on the shelf literally forever.
Well,
so even they were technically would have come before The Acolyte. So it's just weird. It's just really, really weird.
It definitely is. One terrible project can potentially destroy your resume
Mm-hmm.
and ruin your career forever. And that's the case in any professional field.
True.
One bad job in my profession can destroy your entire career.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be honest with you, I've never talked about it. That's what happened to me.
Yeah.
I went from a big city head varsity coach of the year, somebody that everybody was like, oh, he revived the program. Oh, we were ranked number 4 in the state. Everything's great. I got unhappy. I left there. I took a bad job and my resume was destroyed.
You were Book of Boba Fett.
I was, but I was fatter than him too.
No, but you know what I mean by that. You were Book of Boba Fett, right? That's kind of what happened to Mandalorian, right?
Yeah, Disney Star Wars has become a career killer.
Yeah. It used to be the thing that everybody wanted to do, right? It was a guaranteed win. And again, this is clearly a byproduct of the sequel trilogy. That's the first time it became a career killer.
Yeah. Yeah. And look, we were talking about voice actors earlier. Nathaniel posted this one. Kevin Conroy, rest in peace, is my favorite voice actor. I have the entire animated series. He's talking about Batman, the animated series. One of the greatest cartoons of all time. Hands down.
Yep.
It is a masterpiece.
Yeah.
I have the entire animated series on Blu-ray and will have it for a long time. Y'all, the best hope. Y'all's night is going well. I also, Nathaniel, have the entire Batman series. I used to have the Batmobile unopened in the box,
Ooh.
the Kenner one from 92.
I remember it. Mm-hmm.
I've never owned Combat Belt Batman, the original Batman the Animated Series figure in the package, and one day I will, and he's going to go like right over there, like.
And we'll be able to see it. We'll be able to see it.
Yeah. Oh, well, if I keep this lens.
Oh, true.
So I think you're a fan of the new lens. Am I right?
I am. And it looks even better when you're zoomed out. When you're zoomed out, this problem that you're
Like
having.
this?
Yeah. When it's almost unnoticeable that it's doing the autofocusing and all that. It looks really good. I've been admiring it. I've been admiring it the whole time.
I'm going to mess with the autofocus settings and see if I can get that cleared up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess I'll keep it like this for a while. And my $600 lens over there, I guess I'll put it in the box. And
You can. I mean, if you decide to go this way, I'm sure you can find a buyer for that lens.
oh yeah, I will.
I mean, it's not going to give you the $600, but it'll give you more than putting it in a box.
This is true. So I found a toy collection.
Another one?
No,
Oh,
I'm just telling everybody else. I've really struggled with this one, but it's over 100 complete, like museum quality, never played with original Transformers. Almost every Transformer from the 1984 and 1985 runs. Almost. Missing a couple. The price is really good, and it's over a 5-hour drive. So I plan on taking a camera. I'm forcing Nick to go with me, and we are going to make a vlog.
absolutely.
All G1. All G1. And here's the thing. I'm not keeping it all. I can't afford to. And I don't have the room.
Right.
But I am going to be able to keep everything I want, sell the remainder, and still get a pretty good amount of cash back. So I am really, my goal is to have every season 1 Transformer from the 1984 cartoon, and I'm going to sprinkle in some of the ones that I liked from season 2 and season 3, but not all of them. I'm not trying to have a complete run of Transformers. That I would need 2 more cases with nothing but Transformers.
Right.
I don't have a case big enough for Fortress Maximus.
Well, if you're still trying to talk yourself into going to do this, I think you'll regret it if you don't. Right. So, I mean, to me, it's of course, I'm not the one driving 5 hours and putting out the money for it and all that. So very easy for me to say. But I think to me, it's a no-brainer. You got to do it. You got to do it.
Yeah. Yep. I'm going to have to do it. So, how retirement do you have to cash out? Travel vlog for sure. And yes, I have to. So here's the thing though. This is the problem. The G.I. Joe collection that I bought, that I'm very happy with. I love it. The second half of the collection becomes available on November 2nd. The seller's going to be calling me on November 2nd. Guys, that is a week from tomorrow.
Yes.
And I'm like, I'm buying it. Like, I don't even know what all is in it. And I was so happy with the first half of the collection. I don't care what he has. I've never seen a G.I. Joe collection of original figures from 82 through 87 never played with. There wasn't a blemish on them. They're literally mint condition. What kid opened those up in 1982 and said, I'm not going to play with them. I'm just going to sit him on my shelf?
Certainly wasn't John Graber.
No. Or me.
Or me. It wouldn't have been for me either.
I was out in the flower garden with them.
Yeah.
You know, I was burying them. They were going to war with my Star Wars figures, you know, and everything else. So
this is Dan. There was 2 things I wanted to say about November the 1st, and Dan Grissom just reminded me about one of them. Godzilla -1 is coming back into the theaters for a limited run, and it is an extended version. I think it's one of the extended versions they put on a media or something. But if you didn't get a chance to see,
wait a minute, Godzilla what?
Godzilla -1, the movie.
Nah, I ain't going to no theater to watch that.
Coming back to, some people either didn't see it the first time or may go back and see it again. So just letting folks know, number 1, it's on re-release. So that's Coach is not in. I probably won't go back and see it in the theater either. But that was one November the 1st thing. And the second November the 1st thing is the John Williams documentary becomes available on Disney Plus. So somehow we need to figure out in our ways how to make that available, because I've heard from a couple different places now. As a matter of fact, from Alan Ing on Film Thread earlier today was one of them. It's an Oscar-worthy documentary, apparently, about the life of John Williams. Again, it's produced by Frank Marshall and Kathleen Kennedy and Steven Spielberg, and it's produced by the people who have known John Williams.
I'm sure they made a great documentary about John Williams. They're not making sci-fi.
No, and if it is Oscar-worthy and it does win any awards, maybe this will be Kathy's swan song. Right, maybe because it is produced by Lucasfilm, but that becomes available on Disney Plus November the 1st. Again, I know some people are Disney Plus averse. We'll figure it out. So a couple of cool things coming here in the next little while.
So, all right. I don't think I've said this to you. Chat, some of you are going to be mad at me. I watched Godzilla -1.
Didn't like it.
I found myself skipping to all of the Godzilla scenes, and the
Really?
movie was over.
Okay.
I just didn't care about all this other stuff.
Mm.
Just show me Godzilla.
Okay.
And is that bad? Does that make me a criminal?
So the way I describe Godzilla minus one, right? It's a movie about people that has Godzilla in it,
Yeah.
right? Whereas Godzilla v Kong or whatever that movie
Kind of
was,
like Beetlejuice.
yeah, yeah.
He was in it for 13 minutes.
Whereas Godzilla Kong or whatever was a Kong movie with Godzilla, but I mean that was monsters doing monster things, right? Godzilla minus one was about post World War II Japan and banding together and a family, and Godzilla was wreaking havoc along with. And how do they deal with it, right? So yes, I get it. I get where you're coming from. It's a non-traditional Godzilla movie, but again, it had an impact.
I love that.
It had an
I need
impact
a
for a
shirt
lot
with
of us.
that on it right there. Coach is certainly entitled to his wrong opinion.
It's what I say to Star Wars Santa all the time, right? You're entitled to your opinion as wrong as
I love
might
that.
be.
That is great. Oh yeah, I love these. I love some Dukes and Hazard. Yep, that was good.
Well,
that
you'll
was
be
good
canceled
stuff.
over Dukes of Hazzard these days, Coach.
Yeah, see Darth Bagheera. You want to see the monsters in monster movies, but that doesn't mean the rest is trash. And I didn't say it was trash. I just wasn't interested. So I watched a lot of it, but I found myself skipping through a lot of it just to hurry up and get.
And
to,
the subtitles, you have to be invested in that movie to get through the rest of it, right? Because you're either going with bad dubbing, which I hated, right? Or you're going with the way, like I said, the way Godzilla intended you to watch that movie, which is let them speak Japanese, read all the subtitles, right? So you have to be really into it. I get it. I get it.
By the way, The Goonies is a very overrated film.
I like The Goonies fine, but it's not a movie I ever revisit, right? So maybe I'm just a casual Goonies fan. I do understand its cult following. I hope they never make any more Goonies, right? Just like I think I saw somewhere, I think it was Venger. Maybe it's in a member chat, but I think even Venger was like, "I'm glad they killed they were going to reboot Battlestar Galactica again, right?" In which they killed it now. So again, I mean, some of these things they just need to leave them. They just need to leave them be. Right. So yeah, Battlestar Galactica reboot has been binned. There better not.
It doesn't
be a
need a
Stargate.
reboot. The reboot was a masterpiece.
Agree.
Adama in the reboot was one of the best characters of any show I've ever watched.
Yes.
The best. Like he was so good.
And I mean,
Great
every
show.
time he was on the stage, I mean, every time he was there, you believed it was him, right? He
Yes.
commanded the ship, the screen, every scene he was in. I'm a huge fan, not only of the reboot, but of all the actors and actresses pretty much that starred in that and everything they've been in since then. I mean, they all nailed it.
So that's when I learned what binge watching was. That the first two shows I ever binged was 24
Oh yes.
and Battlestar Galactica.
Yes.
And I was like, there's something to this binging stuff. It was like I was on crack. My heart would be beating. Like,
Ooh, you had a lot of 24 to get through if you binged the whole.
I
if You
did.
binged the whole of it.
It was the
Lord,
first year of marriage for my wife and I, 2006. And we watched the entire thing. Some of it came out after, like some of the spinoff, or I don't even remember at this point.
It got progressively worse the more
It
they
did.
tried to keep it going. But
There's
yeah,
still talk about more.
he'll come back and do a movie. You know he will.
Yeah.
Kiefer would, if they offered it. They better hurry. He's not getting any younger, obviously. But at this point, again, I would just prefer they leave that alone. Right? Don't ruin our fond memories of these things.
So that's kind of become the theme, for our show tonight. The Expanse.
Loved it.
That's one that I would like to watch.
The Expanse and Battlestar Galactica are a bit interchangeable for me, not because they're not The Expanse wasn't a reboot, but I'm just saying that the way they told their stories and how invested you get in the characters, The Expanse was, for me, really, really, really well done. Really
What's up, Sundowners? He says Ronald D. Moore, who did Battlestar Galactica and For All Mankind, has taken over God of War. That's great
Yes.
news. Hey, let me tell you, For All Mankind, Rissman got me on it. That's top 10 shows of all time for me, I think.
It's Ron Moore. I have to tell you,
It's so good.
he
I cannot wait to continue.
they should leave him back into Star Trek and let him do something else Star Trek. Right. While he's around, I mean, he is a master of sci-fi storytelling.
Yep. Very cool. All right, guys. Well, we've been going an hour and a half. Thank you for being patient with us as we did not stream Thursday night. Had a prior engagement we had to go to, but I knew that we would do something this weekend. Nick is out and busy tonight. Not even at home. He's gone doing something else that he's got to get done. But we'll be back next week for more here at the channel. We appreciate it very much. We did make a bunch of videos last weekend and released them throughout the week that were all non-Star Wars videos, but Star Wars season is starting to crank up with Skeleton Crew. We'll be watching it. We'll be reviewing the episodes. We'll be posting our thoughts. We'll be making videos to get everything updated, what's going on with Star Wars. We're still a Star Wars channel, but we're still a everything else channel too. So how could we not enjoy sitting here hanging out with people that we love, talking about things that we love? So
Echo Base Network expanded.
Yeah. Not the Goonies.
Not the
Ryan Matheson gifted 1 EBN membership. Man, we got 7 new members tonight, guys. Ryan,
Indeed.
thank you so much, man. Thank you. And sincerely, guys, really, from the bottom of my heart, thank you all for being here.
we had
you
so
make
many
this-
of our regular folks here tonight, Coach. I was.
We didn't even
I
announce that
marveled
we were
at
doing it tonight. We said, hey, you want to go live? I'm good right now. Are you? And he's like, yeah, you better do it now, though. All right, let's go. And look, we're live in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you all show up. Like, it's crazy. So,
Awesome. Just awesome.
Yep. Thank you, guys. We love you. That's going to do it for us. I'm going to go in here and find something to watch on television and fall asleep to. Probably going to be Godzilla -1.
No, don't say it. Don't say it.
Just kidding. Twist the knife. All right, guys. That's it for us. See y'all later. We are, you are, Echo Base Network. Transformers 1 coming in the near future. We'll do a watch party. See you guys. Thank you, Matt, for co-hosting with me tonight.
My pleasure.
Later, guys.
See y'all.
Coach and Nick from Echo Base Network, thank you so much for being here with us tonight at Echo Base TV, where community happens.
My name is Copper Kid, and I will slap your ass. Oh, my bad.